the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
At one time. What is good, YouTube? This is your boy, Aaron.
It's Brian. Salute.
And this is the Courtside View podcast. And before we start, make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well. And if you're new to this channel, first of all, thank you for clicking on our channel and help us out. Click that subscribe button if you want to see more of our content. And yeah, let's get started. First topic of the day, I want to discuss what's going on today, and that is the NFL Combine, specifically the wide receivers. Now, Brian, this might go down as one of the greatest wide receiver drafts we've ever witnessed. The amount of talent for this year's wide receiver prospects is insane. I have the full list right here, the invites for the Combine. And then we'll get down after I give you the list. We'll talk about just some of our prospects that we're really looking forward to in today's NFL Combine. So down the list, we have Javon Baker from UCF, who's sort of made waves. I think Steve Smith Sr. has talked about Javon Baker a little bit.
He did.
Jermaine Burton from Alabama, Jalen Cooker from Holy Cross, Keon Coleman, who's a name that we all know very well from Florida State, who's been getting pretty much critiqued about his game, criticized for his game these past few months. Malachi Corley, another Steve Smith Sr. wide receiver that he's analyzed a lot. Jacob Cowing from Arizona, Ryan Flournoy from Southeast Missouri State, Troy Franklin, another guy that people have sort of talked about a little bit, Anthony Gold, Leatrick Griffin, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaquan Jackson, Cornelius Johnson, Xavier Legette. He's been making a lot of waves these past month. I've been hearing his name a lot. Luke McCaffrey, Lad McConkey from Georgia. Jalen, that Georgia guy. He's been making a lot of waves too. Jalen McMillan from Washington. Bub Means, Adonai Mitchell.
That's my guy.
He's been killing it. A lot of people have been talking about him. His name has been just in the news for a lot of reasons. Malik Neighbors, we already know. Romo Dunze, like we know. Ricky Pearsall from Florida. Jalen Polk from Washington. He's another one that's people that analysts like. Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son from USC, Tavion Robinson from Kentucky, Marcus Rosemay, Jack Saint from Georgia, Aeneas Smith from Texas A&M, Brian Thomas Jr., another guy that we know very well, Jamari Thrash, Devon Veli from Utah, Devontae Walker from North Carolina. I talked about him a little bit. Malik Washington from Virginia, Taj Washington from USC, Xavier Weaver from Colorado, Jordan Whitington from Texas, Isaiah Williams from Illinois, Johnny Wilson from Florida State, Roman Wilson from Michigan, and Xavier Worthy from Texas.
So that's all them names.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's a lot of wide receiver prospects in this year's NFL Combine. The amount of talent is insane. Out of all the players on that list, who are the names that stand out for you that you're really excited to watch in this year's Combine?
Well, obviously you got the top dudes. Is Marvin Harrison? Is he doing drills?
No
drills. Is Malik Neighbors doing drills?
I don't know, but he's not doing drills. No.
Jeez, man, what is going on? So yeah, I hope is Rome doing drills?
I don't know about Rome, but my guess is he'll probably do drills.
Hmm. Well, anywho, outside of the usual suspects, I'm really looking forward to see guys like Brian Thomas Jr. Because there's a lot of questions about him coming into this uh draft and how he's a big guy, but he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really like play super big,
Yeah.
and he's also there's some questions about his releases and how he
Yeah.
really only has like one release, and he's not really beating corners in like many different ways off the line. But AD Mitchell, that's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Keon Coleman, I'm trying to give Keon Coleman the benefit of the doubt. I don't want to throw that label, that lazy label of he's just Quentin Johnston, blah blah blah. No, I'm actually trying to see him as a full prospect and really break down his game because he's from what we've seen at Florida, he's that guy. So
Mm-hmm.
you got to give him the ball and then let him work in the open field. But you would expect him being as big as he is and to be more physical and like win those contested catch opportunities. Because if you think because like guys like Rome, his contested catch rate is insane. Being he
Mm-hmm.
look like Keon Coleman, it's like, well, who's the bigger receiver here? So I'm looking forward to see how he does in the combine as well. Um, guys like you said, Lad McConkey, Georgia, Bulldogs, that's my team and everything. I really
Mm-hmm.
like McConkey. I wouldn't mind him on the Cowboys. He can run some routes. Xavier Legette, that's a guy that I've had my eye on. I'm from South Carolina, so
Yep.
I'm looking forward to see that. Um, that's pretty much it. I mean, all these other guys, it's just a lot of talent here, but I'm mostly just paying attention to guys that I could mock to my Cowboys, honestly.
That's how I'm looking at it. Here's the thing with this year's draft class of wide receivers. If you're a GM, it doesn't matter how many good wide receivers you have for your team.
Get another one.
Get another one. It doesn't matter. Like if you want to draft somebody in third, fourth, whatever, at least draft one of them because you never know. They might pan out to be really good for you because it's just the talent level is unbelievable. So for me, I'm looking at Xavier Legette. I'm looking at Odane Mitchell, Brian Thomas Jr., and yeah, those are like really the guys I'm really looking at. Oh, and Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman for me because I want to see, okay, can he erase some of the doubts from some of these critics? Because he's been getting criticized a lot about just his ability to not run routes, not being the most polished wide receiver. The three cone drill is going to be very important for him. I can't wait to see that. And just some of the other drills that they're going to have him doing as well. Keon Coleman is going to be a fascinating player to watch. Donnie Mitchell, I've been very high on him as well. I can't wait to watch him. He's gonna well, it's gonna be interesting to see where he will get drafted this year because some people might have him like late in the first, maybe in the second round, but I don't know. The way people are talking about him, it just seems like he's a first round talent. But we'll have to see. Xavier Legette is
He
another one. Yeah, what are you gonna say?
Keon, he was like a solidified first round talent when the season was going on, but then it seems like once people got the opportunity to like really dive into the film, it was like, this
Yeah,
guy's giving us a little too much of those big receiver can't separate vibes, and we staying away from guys like Quentin Johnston and all them.
yeah, and see that's when you see a trend years on end where you have these big receivers who can't separate that are just jump ball merchants, you're going to tend to critique, you're going to tend to not want to draft that player in the first round. And so Keon Coleman, he's a he's a product of just what has happened these past number of years with those archetype of receivers where, yeah, you can catch jump balls, but can you get separation? And see, that's the thing with Keon Coleman that he's gonna have to figure out is can you use your size effectively
Mm.
and can you get open? And so we'll see today how things go. Obviously, the tape is where things really lie. That really tells you how a prospect really is, but the combine is just all the combine does really is confirm what you already know or maybe change a little bit of what you thought of that player. So for instance with Keon Coleman and the fact that you can argue that his quarterback Jordan Travis wasn't helping him at all. He wasn't the most accurate quarterback. He wasn't really good when it comes to throwing with anticipation. So a lot of times when he threw it to Coleman or when he didn't throw it to Coleman, by the time Jordan Travels was about to throw the ball or was thinking of throwing it to Keon Coleman, the cornerback was already right there because he wasn't anticipating. He wasn't
Mm.
reading the field quick enough. And so that's where okay, with the combine, maybe we could see some things that could have us saying, like, oh, okay, maybe it was the quarterback's fault, not the receiver itself. Maybe the receiver was under a bad situation. Maybe he wasn't schemed right. Maybe he wasn't utilized properly. And so that's what the combine could be used for to answer some of those questions. And that's what I'm really looking for. Uh, I'll say this because these receivers, there's going to be a receiver or two from this draft that we're going to look back 5, 10 years ago, and we're going to wonder how the hell did he slip to the second or third, fourth round? It's going to be that one receiver because that's how good this draft is. I'm telling you. I guarantee 5, 10 years from now, it's gonna be that one receiver, a Devontae Adams, a Tyreek Hill, I'll even go all the way back to Terrell Owens, or you name it, where we look back 5, 10 years and we're asking ourselves, like, how did that receiver slip all the way to the late first, second round, third round? But they drafted these receivers instead. Like it's gonna happen. It's going to happen. Teams are going to miss out on a great talent because it's so loaded, and they think that oh well, this receiver fits better in our system. Oh, this receiver has more potential. Oh, this receiver. The thing is that when these franchises are selecting a receiver, it's all about not only what is their ceiling, but how do they fit in our system? And see, I've been watching a lot of just NFL Live. I've been just watching a lot of these NFL analysts, and they sort of break it down and how like some of these receivers fail because they come into a situation that doesn't specialize in what they do well. And so it's
Mm.
gonna come. Some of that is gonna come down to that. And Puka Nakua is a great example of how he went into a situation that specializes in what he does best. And so
Exactly.
we'll see how things turn around for this coming NFL draft and from years to come. But I can't wait to see 1 o'clock when we get to see this talented group of receivers. Um, let's see here. What else we got on the docket? So I want to talk about the quarterbacks in the NFL Combine. We have Michael Penix. We have JJ McCarthy. These are just notable names that we're really going to pay attention to. Um, Drake May's not going to throw. Caleb Williams not going to throw. We already knew that. Jayden Daniels not going to throw. Um, JJ McCarthy, he's gonna throw. Michael Penix Jr., he's gonna throw. Um, who else? Bo Nix is gonna
Joe
throw.
Milton.
Yeah, Joe Milton's gonna throw. Who else is gonna throw? Huh?
Is Rattler throwing? I'm pretty sure he is. I don't see why he wouldn't.
My fault, my fault. I was just talking to somebody. But yeah, so yeah, Rattler's gonna throw. So we have there's a good amount of QB talent in this combine as well that I can't wait to see. I think JJ McCarthy is the big one
Yeah,
because there's a lot of questions. We haven't seen him throw a lot. So I can't wait to see JJ McCarthy. I can't wait to see Michael Penix Jr. I think Michael Penix Jr. I think he'll put on a great show in the combine.
yeah. He
But
can throw.
The thing with Michael Penix Jr. is when a pass rush is coming towards him, when he's under pressure, what are you going to look like when that happens? And see, when that happened, he didn't play particularly well. We saw in the championship game.
Yeah.
And even when it was a little bit of, it wasn't even a whole lot of pressure. You know what I mean? He still was a little rattled. So
Mhm.
how is he going to look in that situation? Can Michael Penix Jr. can he throw on the run? Can he be mobile? That's one of my questions with Michael Penix Jr. Can he be mobile? Because in this day and age, you need your QB to be mobile. You can't have him being a pretty much a statue in the pocket. So those are just some things with the quarterbacks. What are you most excited for when it comes to the quarterbacks in the combine?
Well, when I'm looking at these with quarterbacks and combines, I'm usually looking to how like the process is like when their drop backs, how many steps they take, and do they look fluid? When they're hitting the receivers, are they hitting them on target? Are they leading the receivers? Are they throwing to where the receiver is at, or are they leading them to where he's going to be? And I'm also looking at accuracy, things of that nature. So guys like I think Penix and JJ McCarthy, I think they're pretty accurate QBs. I don't think they'll really have much problem in that department. But a lot of people is looking at JJ McCarthy to really see what he can do as a thrower of the football because in Michigan they were a run first team. And when they asked JJ McCarthy to make a play, we ain't really see too much. There's not really a lot of film on that. So really just looking to see how these guys perform. Also guys like Bo Nix, guys like Spencer Rattler, Joe Milton, those kind of tier 3, 4 guys as far as the QB prospects go, and see how they perform. They could really increase their stock today as well. So I'm really just looking at how they connect with receivers, ball placement. If they, also the deep ball. The deep ball is very important. I think guys like Penix will be good with the deep ball test. I'm looking forward to see JJ McCarthy on that drill.
Yeah, I
So that's
think
pretty
JJ
much what I'm
McCarthy.
looking for.
Yeah, I think JJ McCarthy is the number one quarterback I'm looking for because he's been getting a lot of hype. They've been saying he might go top 6, might go top 10. I think Bo Nix is another one where I feel like in certain mock drafts he's like in the top 5.
Huh?
I don't know where he'll go. What are you gonna say?
Whoever's drafting Bo Nix in the top 5 will be fired within two
I
years.
meant like in terms of QB rankings for the
Oh,
draft.
Q. Oh,
He's in the
okay,
top
okay.
5. He's in the top 5, but
Let me think.
I don't know where he would. I don't know where he would go per se. Maybe late first, second roundish. I think with Bo Nix, I need to see more from him. The system that he was under in Oregon didn't allow him to like really make a whole lot of difficult throws. So I want to see just more like you said, ball placement and stuff of that nature. We didn't really see much of that in Oregon. So yeah, that's really what I see. JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix. Those are the two QBs that I'm really looking for. I pretty much know what I'm gonna expect from Michael Penix.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't really care about Michael Penix that much. I already know what to expect. But McCarthy and Bo Nix, I want to see more from them. I want to see how they'll play in this environment. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking of quarterbacks, I want to talk about Drake May. He's been getting a lot of criticism recently. A
Indeed.
lot of draft analysts have been looking at his film and have said a lot of things about him from an aspect of I believe Merrill Hodges said he wouldn't draft him in the first round.
Yep.
He said this is what he said. He said something to the realm of, well, if your thought process is if we put him in our system, I could fix him. That's how you'll get fired. That's how you get fired. And I think with Merrill Hodges, because he's not the only person that said that I wouldn't. Well, he not to say that I wouldn't draft Drake May in the first round, but that they think that Drake May is QB3. Here's
Hmm.
what I'll say about people like Merrill Hodges that are like down on Drake May. I agree that Drake May has a lot of flaws and has a lot of things that he needs to clean up. They always talk about his feet. His fundamentals are very sloppy. Uh, they bring up the comparison with Herbert, the anticipation, him sort of being a tad late when it comes to throwing, his throwing
Yes.
motion. His throwing motion can be I remember Ben Kurt compared him to Mason Rudolph in terms of his throwing motion.
Yeah, saw that.
So like I mean he has his flaws. I agree. He has his flaws and he needs to clean some stuff up. But ultimately, I think he's a top 5 pick. I think he whatever
Easily.
team gets him should be happy because I believe that his ceiling is as high as a Caleb Williams, a Jayden Daniels. I will say that he's the biggest um
Gamble.
which yeah, he's the biggest risk out of the three. Remember the group chat? I remember we were in the group chat and I was telling people I was like, "Yo, I think Jayden Daniels is the safer pick. I like
Yeah.
Drake May more as a prospect, but I think Jayden Daniels is the safer pick for the Commanders." And everybody was like, "What are you talking about? Uh, how is Jayden Daniels the safer pick over Drake May?" And they look at his size. They look at, oh, he only weighs 214. I'm like, come on now, bro. What does the tape? What does the tape say? And see, sometimes we'll be in the group chat and people will act dense to stuff. They'll act very dense. And just because more people are against what you believe in doesn't mean that they're right. And so
Mm.
these people that I will not name in our group chat that we are in was like, oh, Drake May, they're super high on Drake May, and they're not very high on
Except
Jayden
one
Daniels.
Commanders fan.
Yeah,
He
one
does
one
not like
Commanders
Drake.
fans he likes Jayden Daniels or Drake May. But my thing is that in terms of like what do you need from your QB right now when you draft them? I think the Commanders are not in a position where they can just have a QB sit for a year. I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked, honestly, if they do that because that'll let me know that the culture has truly changed. But
Mm.
I just don't see it. And I think if that's the case, then you draft Jayden Daniels because he's the more pro ready quarterback and he fits Cliff Kingsbury's system. So
Yeah, that is true because a lot of one of the critiques I've heard from about Jayden Daniels is that he doesn't really attack the middle of the field. And as you can see from Cliff Kingsbury work in Arizona, Kyler wasn't hitting much over the field either. He was mostly working outside the numbers, outside the hashes. as far as route
Exactly.
combinations go. So
Exactly. So I look at Jayden Daniels to the Commanders, and it's very smooth transition. They have Terry McLaurin, they have Jahan Dotson. The O line is not going to be good, but because Jayden Daniels is he's really good with running the football, and he can run. I would say he's probably a 4-5, 4-4 guy, maybe. He can overcome a pretty mediocre to bad O line, and he's a better according to the analysts now, NFL analysts. They say these draft analysts. They say that Jayden Daniels, when it
he
comes
navigates
to
the pocket better.
a pure pocket passer, he's better than Drake Maye. He navigates the pocket better. He's better
Yeah,
with throwing with anticipation. He has a quicker
yeah,
release than Drake Maye, which is important. That's
yeah.
why they're so high on him. Is because it's just some of the tools that you need in order to be great in the league. He has that. I've been hearing stuff about Jayden Daniels should go number one over Caleb Williams.
I don't know about all that, but
Like um Kirk, Kurt, and I think it was Dan Orlovsky said that
yeah,
they have Jayden Daniels as their QB1. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like,
that's
hold
interesting.
on now. I mean, I respect their opinions. They're former quarterbacks, NFL quarterbacks, and they do this for a living. But hold on now. I get it. I get it. A lot of what Caleb Williams was doing in USC was not in structure. But at the same time, you could argue, well, who did he have around him? And a lot of these route combinations that that he had to
Work
throw
with.
to, right?
Mm.
Wasn't that great either. I mean, I've seen so many videos breaking down just Lincoln Riley's just lack of creativity when it comes to some of the route combinations on there. So what like are you going to blame Caleb Williams for that? I mean, a lot of times maybe it's not in structure because guys can't get open. You know what I mean? So you have to look at it like that, and they probably know that. But at the same time, Jayden Daniels, he also had Brian Thomas Jr. and Malik Neighbors. I mean, that's you can't
Yeah,
do no better than that from a wide receivers core perspective. So I I still put Caleb Williams at one. I agree with what's his name Ah, how can I forget his name?
Kurt.
He's a Hall of Fame QB. I forgot his name. Damn. What's his name?
How long
Kurt
ago did he
Warner.
play? Oh, Kurt
Kurt
Warner.
Warner.
Yeah,
I agree with Kurt Warner, and sort of his breakdown and everything like that. He has Caleb Williams one, but he also understands why people would have Jayden Daniels as their QB1, why he would be a bit skeptical of Caleb Williams, but overall, I'm not going to overcomplicate things. I just think Caleb Williams just has that talent and has that innate ability of just being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I'm not going to say he's like a generational prospect. I'm not going to say that you plug him into any situation that he automatically makes the team so much better. I do think that quarterbacks, at the end of the day, if you want them to succeed, they need to have the talent and the coaching around them in order to prevail. Because we've seen it with Trevor Lawrence his first year and how they proclaimed him as a generational talent, and he was looking completely awful. So obviously, that generational talent nonsense is not true unless you're Andrew Luck. So yeah, man. How do you feel about Jayden Daniels being like just some of these former quarterbacks saying that Jayden Daniels should be is QB1 over Caleb Williams?
well, I don't agree with the whole QB1 discourse. I think it's they kind of jumping the gun here. Now, Jayden Daniels, he had a phenomenal season. You know, he won the Heisman for crying out loud. But he also did have those weapons in Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. And I think, in my opinion, JD5 is QB2 in my mind, in my analysis. I think he's like you say. I think he's
Yeah.
more pro ready than Drake May. He has cleaner pocket presence. His footwork is cleaner. Only concerns is throwing over the middle of the field, but that was probably mostly due to scheme. People say, "Oh, he's kind of old," but like, I mean, I don't mind older QBs because that means they've seen a lot, and he's been in multiple systems. I think he was at Arizona first, then he transferred to LSU, and he was looking shaky last year, but towards the season before last, like 2022
Yeah.
season, then
Yeah. He
towards the end of
was
the year, he really
very
started to
shaky.
pick
Yeah.
up, and then he had that rough Florida State game, but then
Mm-hmm.
he just picked it up and started that Heisman campaign towards like the mid-season, and because mid-season form is a thing, and so yeah, and a lot of people say, oh, he's frail and he likes to run, but yes, he's a runner, but how much of that is him just running versus him needing to run because LSU didn't have a run game?
Yeah.
So I think that's the distinction people need to make because people they want to label these guys runners, but don't really look into the context and why they have to run so much. Because I don't think anyone can name the LSU starting running back outside of people that fans of the team. Because like that run game was god awful. So he had to make a lot of stuff happen a lot of times. And yeah, he definitely needs to learn to slide more. You can't be taking them kind of hits and have a long career in the NFL. But yeah, man, I like Jayden Daniels as the number QB2. I don't think he's better than Caleb simply because Caleb's ceiling is just so high that if you get him to where everything is clicking all on the same level, he's going to be a phenomenal player. And so yeah, but I'm not mad at the scouts and all the analysts really catching on to the Jayden Daniels hype train. 'Cause I've been on this train for a minute. I've been saying I like Jayden Daniels as a prospect more than Drake May because he's more polished.
Yeah. Uh my here my thing with Jayden Daniels, which is a good sign if whoever drafts Jayden Daniels, is that they talk because he utilizes his legs a lot, but they talk more about his ability to throw in the pocket and how well and refined he is. And that's a great sign because that just lets you know that he's not he's not limited in, oh, he relies so heavily on his legs. Like, no, he can throw from the pocket. So back to what I was saying about Jayden Daniels. I think with Jayden Daniels, what makes him so good of a prospect is that we normally don't see when it comes to running quarterbacks is how he has been praised more so for his ability to throw from the pocket than from his legs. And see, with Jayden Daniels, a lot of these NFL draft analysts are praising him for his footwork in the pocket, his anticipation, his ability to make all the throws. I will say though, one thing I heard from Kurt Warner that has me a bit concerned is he said that Jayden Daniels, in order when he throws, when he tries to complete throws, does it have to be perfect every time for him to complete the throw? So, like for instance, with Caleb Williams and with Drake May, their arm talent is just so elite, right? Where the footwork doesn't have to be perfect all the time. You know what I mean? The stuff like that, where they can still complete the pass to the receiver, even if things aren't always perfect. And Kurt Warner, he's looking at Jada Daniels as like, well, if your footwork isn't perfect, if all the things aren't right, are you still able to get that pass to the receiver effectively enough? So that's one of the things I heard from Kurt Warner about Jayden Daniels. Everything else has pretty much been relatively positive when it comes to Jayden Daniels. And I mean, if the Commanders select him number 2, I wouldn't be mad at it. I just think people are just looking at his weight. I mean, the dude is like 6'3", 6'4",
Hmm.
and he can always build muscle. He does need to slide more, like you said. but
Yeah.
he can learn that. He can learn that, and he's already polished. I think another thing that people are concerned with is age, which I think is a bit overrated. He's 23 years old. He's not like 25 years old. Joe Burrow, he came out, he was 23, I believe it was. Guess what? Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl. Joe Burrow is one of the five best quarterbacks in the NFL. Joe Burrow played for LSU as well. Joe
Yeah.
Burrow wasn't as good of a runner as Jayden Daniels. Joe Burrow, what is he like, 6'4", about the same size as Jayden Daniels. So, I mean, Joe Burrow is a good example. And Joe Burrow, I mean, he's been, yeah, man. Just all I'm gonna say is this: that the whole age thing, like, get out of here with that. What does the film say? That's all that
Mm.
really matters. And Jayden Daniels, he's he's a really good prospect. He'd probably be the number one pick. And if Caleb Williams wasn't there, if Drake Maye
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
there in like a normal QB draft, he would be the number one pick. Like,
Easily.
seriously. Like, I wonder if last year if Jayden Daniels would be the number one pick over CJ and Bryce Young. That would be an interesting conversation.
I don't think so.
You don't think Jayden Daniels would go over Bryce Young or CJ Stroud? I think he would.
I don't know.
I think he would. The way that these draft people are talking about Jayden Daniels, the way that they are, because I remember last season they said that Caleb Williams and Drake Maye would be QB1 and QB2 if they came out of that draft class.
Oh, interesting.
So if that's the case, then why not Jayden Daniels? You know?
Well,
And
we can
another
go.
thing that I heard about Jayden Daniels that's very interesting from Mel Kiper is that he said that before the season, Jayden Daniels was a projected fourth round pick. Fourth round.
Hmm.
So that just lets you know just the amount of progression that he has had since the start of the season, because I didn't see this coming at all. This came out of nowhere. Like, his development throughout the season was unheard of. I've never seen something just so, matter of fact, I have seen it. It's called Joe Burrow. Like the other LSU quarterback, because Joe Burrow was not that good his his first year with LSU. Like, I remember LSU before Jamar Chase and before Justin Jefferson just started going crazy. They were just straight defense, and Joe Burrow, he wasn't really that good. But then his final year, they brought in Joe Brady, and all of a sudden they man, they looking like the 1999 Rams. Like, it's going crazy out there. So
Yep.
yeah, I have seen it before, and it's Joe Burrow. But yeah, man, Jayden Daniels, the whole quarterback conversation in the draft is just fascinating to me, because it just seems like these quarterback evaluators, they tend to like overcomplicate things at times when it comes to like a QB like a Caleb Williams, a talent like Caleb Williams, where they try to see if they can find any sort of flaws that they can
Hmm.
pick apart, even though the obvious pick is Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
It's like why are we dancing around it? Like, we all know the pick is Caleb Williams. I don't get why we're just sitting here
Yeah.
and
Even if you don't think Caleb in structure is all that great or whatever, you still got to bank on those traits. He's shown so many things that those other guys just simply can't do. So you can live with the playmaking ability. Just you can teach fundamentals. You can't teach some of the stuff he was doing at USC, coming out the pocket, the way he was making them all platform throws and stuff. You can't teach that stuff.
and the thing with Caleb Williams is that he's actually fundamentally sound. Like, if you watch his games, like his pocket awareness, his pocket presence, his ability to go through his like he's actually fundamentally sound. Like he's not like Patrick Mahomes' his final year with Texas Tech, where they were saying he has no footwork at all. No, Caleb Williams actually has worked a lot on his fundamentals and his footwork. That's why he's going number one in the draft for a reason, because he actually is fundamentally sound. It's just in terms of the system that he's under, they don't ask him to play in structure a whole lot, or rather, he's not able to play in structure because the guys aren't getting open, or the play designs are just not that great where he's gonna have to make something out of nothing. So yeah, man, it's not that difficult. All these nitpicking, that's just how we know we're in draft season,
Yeah,
and that's just
people
how it is.
overthinking, and people
Yeah,
starting to get out on him because of there's talk about there's concerns with his toughness, and now they saying that it's a bad look he's not measuring or doing medicals at the combine and stuff like that. He only wants to do medicals with the people that, well, assuming the teams that are in a position to draft him. So I mean, it's kind of like, and then they not really liking how his dad is managing him or whatever. It's like, I'm
yeah,
not hearing nothing football related. So hey,
yeah, exactly right. So the medical thing, I think this is one of those things where teams are teams. I know them teams are slick. They try to be slick. See, they get the medicals, so they know, okay, when we play this guy, all right, what's some areas that's gonna bother him? Like we know exactly, like, all right, his medicals, etc. So when we play him, we can game plan him a certain way off of just the simple fact that we know certain areas that might bother him. Like, man, we already know, like, these teams, they trying to be slick. They not slick. They not slick like the Packers. Like, Packers, what do you need his medicals for? Like, seriously. Because you know why? Because he's gonna go to Chicago and he's gonna go to the rival. Like,
mm,
they're not slick. These teams are not slick. We see the game, bro. We see it. Caleb Williams is not stupid. Why would he give teams an advantage over him when he knows that y'all are not gonna be in a position to draft me? So why would I give you an advantage over whatever team I go to? So that's just not gonna happen. And he's smart. That's smart. That's very smart.
my problem is with the combine this year and a lot of the top guys like not participating. I don't want to sound like the old man here, but like go out there and compete. Like I don't understand. Like I understand, there's a lot of risk. Players got hurt yesterday doing drills. I believe Nate Wiggins got hurt, and I believe someone else got hurt. I can't remember who though. But yeah, so yeah, I understand the injury concerns, but the greats before you did it. I mean, I'm confused. Like we seen C.J. Stroud at the combine raising
Uh-huh.
his stock. His stock got raised a lot from that combine. We seen Bryce Young. He didn't throw last year. Not that I don't think. No, he didn't throw. But we seen guys before. I believe didn't Trevor Lawrence do combine stuff?
I believe he did. I
Yes. I
believe he
mean,
did.
all the top prospects before was doing it. So I mean, hey, I guess it is what it is. The guys don't want to compete. It's unfortunate, but hey, I mean, it is what it is. I guess. I
I,
mean, it's
I,
not going to help. It's not going to hurt the draft stock, but I mean,
it is
I don't
disappointing.
know.
It is
I don't know.
disappointing because we've seen a guy like Andrew Luck, who
Yeah, surefire. No, no, you can't miss number one pick. He still went out there and was competing.
in the combine, right? He was throwing, he did everything. And see now these quarterbacks coming out, if you're a Caleb Williams type, he's gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna do any of the drills, I'm not gonna do none of that. And I'm just like, damn. Like that, I get it. Like you're right. You're gonna go number one anyway, but I don't know, bro. Like I would have loved to see, like, okay, how fast can he run in a 40? You know what I mean? Like, okay, like we see you being able to use your legs. Like, how fast can you run in a 40? Like that would be very interesting to know. Or I don't know, some other things. But just the fact that they're not gonna a lot of these prospects aren't competing. Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going out there. I don't think Malik Neighbors is going out there. Like it just
Mhm.
sucks, bro, because I don't even think some of them might not even do a pro day. Like it's like damn. Like I would have really loved to see just their talent on display. Now people are gonna say,
Exactly.
well, just watch the tape. Yeah, you're right. We can watch the tape, but it's also cool to like see, okay, on a combine sort of theme to it, how do they measure up? And
Exactly.
the fact that we're not going to be able to see it is disappointing. And so, yeah, we're living in a new age. We're living in a new era where there's load management and guys are not participating in the combine. It's unfortunate.
Nope.
Got NIL. We have which is cool, NIL. I have no problem with NIL. But I do have a problem when the third running back on the depth chart is demanding $100,000 and he's telling the coach that if you don't give me $100,000, I'm going to transfer. That's where I have a problem with NIL, even though NIL has nothing to do with something like that. So yeah, it's just a different era, man. It's a different era in sports, a different way that these players are going about it. It's the player empowerment era. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Player empowerment era. And I have no problem with it. I just wish there was some things that we could keep, that we could still keep, but it is what it is. Um, any final words for the NFL Combine before we
Mm.
transition to the NBA?
Nope. I think we covered pretty much all the things. Now it's really time to. I need to start grinding film
All
if I can
right.
find some.
I know, right? Because all 22 for college football is pretty much gate
You
not
gotta. You
gatekeeper.
really gotta know a guy that knows
Yeah,
a guy.
you gotta know a guy. You probably gotta know somebody from a university. Excuse me. You gotta know somebody from a university, and they could probably provide you with the film, but that's pretty much the only way you're gonna be able to get all 22. Or if you're lucky enough to go on Reddit and there's somebody that posts the stuff. But that's about it. Let's go to the final topic, which is the
Before we
NBA.
get to the
Yeah,
NBA,
what you gonna say?
some
What's up?
horrible news has graced my timeline.
Oh, what's some horrible news?
It says end of an era. Cowboys All Pro and Pro Bowl left tackle Tyrone Smith will be a free agent and is unlikely to return to Dallas.
Oh, that's great news. I don't know what you talking about. Salute to Tyrone Smith.
So now left tackle is a need in the draft.
Salute to Tyrone Smith.
This is so corny.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. Salute to him. He finally moved on. It's about time. Go
The
to a real
season is
contender.
over.
Go to a real contender. Go to a real team.
Oh, please.
Go to a real team, man. I don't know what team that is, but whatever team, whatever team that'll get you to another Super Bowl, go to the Chiefs. Why not?
Don't they have a left tackle they like?
Do they have a left tackle they like? I mean, they have a guard. They have a what they got a center.
I forgot who the left tackle name is.
I know
I know
they
who the
have
right. Everybody knows who the right tackle is.
yeah, he sucks. But yeah, man. Regardless, so shout out to Tyrone Smith. I'm glad you're finally leaving that just embarrassment of a franchise. Go to a real contender so you can win that Super Bowl. As long as it's not the 49ers, as long as it's not a team that can prevent my Packers from going back to the Super Bowl, then salute to you, man. Salute. All right, let's go to the last topic. We're talking about the NBA. And I want to discuss the Western Conference standings because listen here, the West is insane. Just looking, man, let me look at these standings real quick. From like 1 to 10, everybody is above 500. That's unheard of. Last year, the Western Conference was like on a down year. Team, the teams were okay from like top to bottom, but they can be had depending on the matchups. This year, man, like, bruh, I'm looking at from 1 to 10. Off rip, the play-in is Sacramento, Dallas, Golden State, and the Lakers.
That's
What?
crazy.
That's insane, bro. Like that is unbelievable. I'm looking at the Eastern Conference and the play-in. They have Miami, they have the Pacers, which is good. The Pacers are actually pretty good. They're like the 8th seed. But then they have Chicago and they have Atlanta. But with the West, it's a completely different situation. And then I'm looking at from 1 to 6, you have Minnesota, you have OKC, you have Denver, you have the Clippers, you have Phoenix, and you have the Pelicans. Now, 1 to 3 are like separated by like one game, and the Clippers are they're like 3 games behind. So they're pretty close. From like 1 to 4, they're like neck and neck. You're not pretty much most of the teams aren't really going to catch them. After like 1 through 4, you're pretty much battling to not not to be in the play-in. So that's really what it's looking like right now. And the Lakers, they're like, I would say they're about 4 games from the 6th seed, which is the Pelicans. Golden State is ahead of them right now. They're like the 9th seed. Dallas is the 8th seed. Sacramento's the 7th seed. I already said Pelicans are the 6th seed. Phoenix is the 5th seed. And then we already discussed the other teams. What is your reaction to just the Western Conference and just how insane it is?
The Western Conference is absolutely madness. It is. Let's compare it to the Eastern Conference. We're only okay. No, no, it's about even. But anywho, yeah, like you said, every 1 through 10 is all above 500, which is absurd. And
Yeah.
like the Warriors, they've won like 13 out of the last 16, and they're still in the play-in spot. So everyone's just treading water, man. It's looking pretty stagnant. Like the Kings are 2 games behind the Pelicans. We don't know if they'll get jumped. The Suns, Pelicans, pretty much neck and neck. It seems like the top, unless the Clippers do something crazy and just fall off completely in the absence of Paul George, they look to be solidify that 4 seed spot. The Nuggets, Thunder, and the Timberwolves. Those are really the teams you may see some movement at.
Yeah.
And it's 3 teams that have fulfilled the 40-20 rule on that side of the conference, and it's the Nuggets, Thunder, and Timberwolves. I think it's man. I've been watching a lot more basketball recently. I've been actually sitting down watching the games when they come on, mostly like the primetime games, but I've been
Yeah.
actually sitting down and watching the games, and mostly Lakers games though, because they always play on primetime. But yeah, it's something. It's something, man. The Western Conference hoops. It's like any night, anything could happen. Like even the lesser teams that give you the Spurs just beat the Thunder. Because
Yeah.
I don't know why, but every time Wimbenyama plays, Chet he takes it personal. I don't know what's that all about. I guess he's trying to avoid another Ben Simmons Rookie of the Year type situation. Yeah, man. Like
Yeah.
Warriors, they've been on a hot streak. They won 8 out of their last 10. Mavs won 7 out of the last 3. Lakers won 7 out of the last 10. That's a 7 out of the last 10. And the standing hasn't moved a bit. So it's gonna be a generational playing. We gonna need it because the East side it ain't looking too good.
I
Because the East
think
they got the playing teams for the East are
yeah.
Hawks, Bulls, Pacers, and the Heat.
Yup.
Yeah, that's not moving the needle at all. Especially with no Trey Young and all that. Yeah, so we're gonna need some. We gonna need the West. The West is probably gonna carry the playoffs this year, honestly, because none of these teams are really safe from each other. Like if I were to want to pick a matchup, I really wouldn't. And I know the Kings they need to do their best ability to not get matched up with the Warriors in that play-in because the Warriors they kind of older, but it seems like they found a rotation. Having Clay come off the bench and starting Poda. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name because
I don't even
I
know
ain't
who
trying to offend him.
I don't even know who it is. I'm like, yo, that's how
I ain't
like
even gonna try to pronounce that. Chris
yo.
Paul getting back into the mix, leading the second unit. They starting to click, and the defense is getting up. I'm telling you, the Warriors, they're gonna be one of them sleeper teams. They're gonna knock one of these young boys out in the playoffs, maybe. So, and the Lakers, you got LeBron and AD, you got a chance. I've been saying that this whole time. You was trying to punt the season, and I'm like, you have LeBron and
No,
AD.
I
Relax.
didn't say like when I'm not
You
trying to
said the
punt the
season
season.
was over.
I said they're not contenders.
Mm.
That's what I said. I said they're not contenders because they didn't make no moves.
Oh, okay.
They could win a
What you mean? Y'all
playoff
just y'all just
series.
y'all just signed Harry Giles.
Bro, who gives a damn about Harry Giles, bro?
But yeah,
Harry
I'm
Giles hasn't
looking.
been good since high school.
Dang. Yeah, man. I'm looking at these teams like it's a lot of teams. They have decent standing, but I'm not a believer. Like the Suns. The Suns they're good, but like I
Really?
can't even full heartedly say the Suns are better than the Mavs. I'm gonna be honest. I can't say that with full confidence. I can't say the Pelicans are much better than the Lakers.
I don't think the Pelicans are better than the Lakers.
Exactly. So
I
I
don't think
mean,
the
there's a
Pelicans
lot
are
of polar bears and all that's in Texas on this in these standings. Like I like the
that.
Thunder, but can I? I mean, we don't know. It's a lot of young guys. They really don't have any playoff
Yeah,
experience.
I'm
But
not
then
really sold
again,
on the Thunder
they
too.
also could make some noise. And the Timberwolves, the Timberwolves left a bad taste in my mouth from that 2022 playoff series with the
Yeah, I know what you're
Grizzlies.
talking about.
That was some of the most CTE basketball I've ever seen in my life. Like seriously,
I
every
agree.
game I was like, what the heck are these NBA players? It felt like a March Madness game
It
every
was.
single
It
game
was. It was.
because there was just so much incompetence. People was blowing leads. I'm like, yo, what is going on out here? But they 42-18 in control of the first seed. In the Nuggets, it's the Nuggets. You can't count the Nuggets out. As long as they got Murray and Jokic, they're a threat to anybody.
Yeah, I think with the Western Conference, like the teams that scare me the most are the Nuggets. Obviously, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with the Clippers, and I think the
Clippers.
Suns and the Mavericks. Like those are the teams that like really scare me. Everybody else, they could get it. Like I'm not really afraid of Golden State. I know people like, oh, Golden State, like Curry and Draymond. I'm telling you this right now.
You can't count them out. You just can't
I'm
do
t-
it.
I'm telling you this right now, guys. Golden State, they don't have the firepower. I know they've been playing a lot better. They've been playing better defensively. I will give them credit, but they just don't have the
Also,
firepower.
in this stretch of games where they've only played about what 3 teams that are actually good, and they only beat one of them. So they've been kind of beating up on lesser competition or teams that they should beat. You know.
Mm-hmm. It's in Golden State, they're a solid team. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the guys that can get you a basket, that can get you a bucket, consistently besides Curry, then you're not going to win much. Last
Well,
year
Kaminga is coming into his own.
he is coming. He is
Pause. That
coming
was crazy.
along. He is coming along, but he still has some work to do. But he is getting a lot better. I will say Kaminga has been the bright spot of the season. But overall, when I look at Golden State compared to a lot of these other teams, I can say that Golden State has the least amount of firepower out of the rest of the teams in the Western Conference from 1 to 10.
That's fair.
Would you agree?
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Okay, so that's my thing with Golden State. Now, being able to play defense is an important element because in the playoffs, in order for you to win, you have to be able to play defense. And see, that's the problem why the Kings lost last year is because they're only good at one thing, which is scoring. And defensively, when you can't guard your man consistently, guess what? Curry's gonna go for 50. And see, what did I tell you? I said Curry go for 40. This man went for 50. I called it. and you doubted me. You said, "Oh, Curry, I don't see it." And I was like, "I'm telling you, Curry gonna put on the show." And he put 50 on them. I'm like, "All right." But see, this year, that's not gonna happen because they're gonna go up against a team that actually plays defense, and it's not gonna be sweet. See, Sacramento, there's not many Sacramentos out there. There's actually teams that actually can guard their man. And see, that's the thing with Golden State.
Honestly, if I'm looking at a matchup, if I'm the Lakers, I said Lakers. If I'm the Warriors, the teams I don't want to play, I don't want to play the Pelicans. I don't want to play the Lakers, and I don't want to play. I don't want to play. I don't want to play the Timberwolves either.
You scared of the Pelicans?
Herb Jones. That's literally the only reason.
Wow. Okay.
You saw what he did to Halliburton yesterday. Good.
No. You're right. Herb Jones. He is that dude. I'll give you that. But I feel like with the Pelicans, though, I'm not like they just don't instill fear. Like maybe it's because whenever I watch them against the Lakers, they get exposed. Like we expose them every time they play us. So maybe that's why. But I feel like the Pelicans, like they don't have that. Maybe it's because of BI and Zion, but it's just something is missing. Like they don't have that dog in them. Like they have the pieces.
I think what the problem is with the Pelicans, they have a lot of talent, but there's really you can't have a team where back and forth the best player keeps rotating. It needs to literally be a hierarchy. Whether you want to like it, whether people would like it or not, there has to be a hierarchy. We know Jokic is better than Murray. Yes, they do things differently, and Murray knows when to step up at certain times, and Jokic knows when to step up. And we all know Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown, but Jaylen Brown also steps up when he needs to be. The problem with the Pelicans is that Ingram, Bi, and Zion is so close together, and one person is expected to be the guy, which is Zion, versus Brandon Ingram actually being the guy for now. But the problem is, it's not it needs to be some type of structure and dynamic. You look at all these other. We know Luka's better than Kyrie. We know Fox is better than Sabonis. We know Shea is better than Chet and all them other players. We know Ant is better than Cat. Like we know these things. And that's why it's starting to work for them. But the Pelicans, once they figure that out, I think they can. Like we know Book is better than Kate Wilson.
Oh no.
And that's also another team. I was like, what's the power structure on that one? It's too many. Because Book is supposed to be the guy.
I don't even think it's.
But KD is still nice.
I think it's not just power structure. I feel like power structure, at a certain, I can agree with that to a certain extent, but it's also consistency from your players as well, your star players, and getting great play from both your star players. Because I look at Zion, and I look at Bi, and I say to myself, like they could be so much better, but they just I feel like every time they play, they give out the minimum. Like I'm just looking at him like Bi should be averaging like 25, 27, but he's giving you 20, 21. It's like, come on now. You should be way better than that. Zion, he'll give you like 22, 24, 7 rebounds. But I'm like, Zion should be getting you like 25 and 10. And see, that's my thing with the star players for the for the Pelicans is that they should be playing a lot better. And they're not. They're playing okay. There's a reason why they didn't make the All-Star team this year, even though they have a top 5, top 6 seed. It's because their star players, their all-star caliber players, aren't playing to the level that we expect them to play.
Yeah. I will say though, it is a pleasant surprise that Zion is still healthy at this point of the season. Because usually he'd be done for a couple weeks or a couple. He's been playing. He played a lot this year. I'm shocked. I am pleasantly surprised. Him and Brandon Ingram have been pretty healthy this season, so that's good.
Which is disappointing that they because remember last year they were the
Weren't
number
they
one
like the one
seed.
seed? Yeah.
They were for a certain point of the season until Zion got injured, but now they're like number 6 or number 5. So for them to go from 1 seed to this year being might not
They're the
make
fifth.
might be in the play-in, might have to play in the play-in is a disappointment because you would expect your players to get better. Your all-star caliber players to get better, but BI and Zion haven't improved. They're still the same player they were a year ago. They're still the same player they were 2 years ago. And see, that's the thing with this Pelicans team and why they're not going to ultimately get to where they want to go is because the two dudes that they're counting on to lead them to the promised land, they're just not good enough.
Mm.
That's just how it is. That's just what it is. Like you look at KD, you look at Devin Booker, those are two dudes. Those are, my QB tier list. I put him, he's him, he's the dude. Those are two he hims. Those are two players that are he him. They are him. Zion and Brandon Ingram, they're not on that, they're not that caliber player. They're not even close to those caliber players. And see, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's just it's man, my gripe is with Brandon Ingram. He's supposed to be so much better than what he is, but I don't know
Mentality.
what's going on.
Mentality. That's just what it is. I'll say this though: the teams I already mentioned this before, but I just believe that OKC, as talented as they are, they're so young, and I don't know if they're ready just yet to go all the way. I think that a team like the Lakers, if they get OKC in the first round, upset alert.
That's a
Literally, like
possibility.
I'm not joking because OKC, Lou Dort is he hey Lou Dort he do hey that man's perimeter defense is a problem, but I do think the veteran savviness of LeBron and just his IQ, Anthony Davis just because the Lakers actually play well against OKC. That's the thing that I noticed a lot. Like the Lakers, they actually have a good game plan against OKC. They can't guard Shea, but everybody else
Not
they
many
do a
people
pretty good
can. He
job.
averaging 30 for a reason.
Yeah, he's averaging 30 for a reason. I just look at the teams that are veteran savvy, the teams that have done it before are always going to be the scariest, like the Mavs, like the Lakers, like the Golden State Warriors, like the Suns, like the Nuggets. Those are the ones that you have to like you really want to avoid. But then the teams that are young, that are one dimensional, like the Sacramento Kings, those are the teams that you always want to face in the playoffs because they are prone to get knocked out early. And so the Timberwolves, I like Ant, but I still want to know, can Ant get it done when it matters most? Can he close the deal? We compare you to Michael Jordan, we compare you to Kobe, but can you do it in clutch time when it matters most? Can you do what Kobe did, what MJ did when it was 5 minutes remaining, 2 minutes remaining, 10 seconds remaining, 2 seconds remaining, when your team is giving you the ball and they say, win us the game? Can you do that? I don't know. I've never seen Ant do it before. And that's where I have my concerns with the Timberwolves. That's where I have my concerns with OKC. They haven't done it yet. They've never been in those predicaments. They've been to the playoffs, not OKC, but Minnesota, they've been to the playoffs. But can they deliver when it matters most? Can they execute when it matters most? And that's what's really going to decide in these playoffs. All right. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials as well. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Courtside View Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.